In ancient China, concubinage was a common practice among the wealthy, and women who served as concubines often endured shocking and inhumane treatment as part of their daily lives. While some of these practices might be considered barbaric by modern standards, they were considered normal and acceptable in ancient Chinese society. In this video, we will explore some of the most shocking things that were normal for concubines in ancient China, shedding light on a dark and often overlooked aspect of Chinese history. From brutal physical punishment to extreme isolation and more, the lives of concubines were far from easy, and their stories deserve to be told. The role of concubines in ancient Chinese society. Concubines played a significant role in ancient Chinese society, particularly among the wealthy and elite. While their status was lower than that of wives, they were nonetheless valued for their beauty, intelligence, and other desirable traits. Many concubines were chosen for their physical appearance and were expected to be submissive to their male partners. However, some concubines were also valued for their intellectual or artistic abilities and were respected for their contributions to their households. Concubines often served as companions to their male partners and were expected to fulfill their sexual needs. They were also responsible for managing the household and raising children, including the children they had with their male partners. In some cases, concubines had more freedom and independence than wives, as they were not subject to the same strict social rules and expectations. However, their lower status meant that they were vulnerable to mistreatment and abuse, and they had limited rights and protections under the law. Despite the challenges and limitations they faced, concubines played an important role in ancient Chinese society, both as individuals and as part of larger social and cultural systems. Their stories offer valuable insights into the complexities of gender, power, and relationships in ancient China, and they continue to be a subject of interest and study in the modern era. Concubinage was a prevalent practice in imperial China, and it was deeply intertwined with the social, cultural, and political systems of the time. The selection and treatment of concubines in ancient China. In ancient China, the selection and treatment of concubines were subject to a complex set of cultural and social rules. While some women were chosen as concubines based on their physical beauty or family connections, others were taken as spoils of war or acquired through purchase. Once chosen, concubines were subject to strict rules and expectations. They were expected to be submissive to their male partners and to fulfill their sexual needs without complaint. They were also responsible for managing the household and raising children, and their treatment often depended on their ability to fulfill these duties to the satisfaction of their male partners. Concubines in ancient China were often subject to extreme isolation and loneliness. They were kept separate from other women in the household, including wives and female servants, and they had limited opportunities for social interaction or support. In some cases, they were even confined to specific parts of the household or kept in separate living quarters. Despite the challenges they faced, concubines were valued for their contributions to the household, particularly for their ability to bear children. Some concubines were treated well and had more freedom and independence than others, while others were subject to mistreatment and abuse. The treatment of concubines varied widely depending on the individual circumstances and the social and cultural norms of the time. However, their stories offer valuable insights into the complexities of gender, power, and relationships in ancient China, and they continue to be a subject of interest and study in the modern era. The lives of concubines in ancient China were marked by isolation, loneliness, and intense competition. While they were valued for their beauty, intelligence, and other desirable traits, they were also subject to strict social and cultural rules that limited their freedom and autonomy. The intense competition among concubines was another source of stress and pressure. Women were chosen as concubines based on their physical beauty, family connections, or other desirable traits, and they were often acquired through purchase or as gifts. Once chosen, they had to compete with other concubines for the attention and favor of their male partner, often resorting to manipulation or even violence to gain an advantage. The isolation, loneliness, and competition that characterized the lives of concubines in ancient China had a profound impact on their mental and emotional well-being. Many women suffered from depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues as a result of their circumstances, and some resorted to drastic measures, such as self-harm or suicide, to escape their situation. Beauty and power, the attraction of concubines in ancient China. Concubines were valued not only for their beauty, but also for their intelligence, education, and other desirable traits. They were often acquired through purchase or as gifts, and their selection was subject to a complex set of cultural and social rules. For men, having a concubine was a symbol of power and status, reflecting their ability to acquire and maintain desirable partners. For women, becoming a concubine offered a chance for upward mobility and social advancement, as well as a measure of protection and security. Despite the complex power dynamics at play, the lives of concubines were often marked by isolation, loneliness, and intense competition. Their stories offer valuable insights into the complexities of gender, power, and relationships in ancient China, and they continue to be a subject of interest and study in the modern era. The cultural and historical significance of concubines in Chinese literature. Concubines have played a significant role in Chinese literature, both as characters and as a symbol of the complex social and cultural norms of the time. From classical poetry to modern novels, the stories of concubines have captured the imaginations of readers and offered a glimpse into the lives of women in ancient China. In many works of literature, concubines are portrayed as victims of a patriarchal society, forced into a life of isolation and competition for the affection of their male partners. Other works offer a more nuanced view, exploring the complex relationships and power dynamics between concubines, wives, and male partners. The stories of concubines in Chinese literature also reflect broader themes of love, loyalty, and sacrifice. Many concubines are portrayed as selfless and devoted, willing to endure great hardships and mistreatment in the name of love or duty. Others are depicted as scheming and manipulative, using their beauty and charm to gain power and influence. The legacy of concubinage in modern Chinese society and culture. The legacy of concubinage continues to be felt in modern Chinese society and culture, particularly in the realm of gender relations and the treatment of women. While the practice was abolished in the early 20th century, its impact on social attitudes and cultural norms has persisted. In modern China, there is still a significant emphasis on traditional gender roles and expectations, with women often being expected to prioritize family and household responsibilities over their own career or personal goals. The legacy of concubinage also contributes to a societal focus on physical beauty and appearance, which can lead to unrealistic standards and unhealthy competition among women. Additionally, the treatment of women in China is still a subject of concern, with issues such as domestic violence, workplace discrimination, and unequal pay continuing to be pervasive. The legacy of concubinage, with its emphasis on male power and control over women, has contributed to a culture of gender inequality and discrimination that persists to this day. However, there are also signs of progress and change in modern China, with increasing awareness and activism around issues of gender and women's rights. By acknowledging the legacy of concubinage and working to address its ongoing impact, there is hope for a more equitable and just society for women in China and beyond. And finally, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. We appreciate your support and look forward to bringing you more great content in the future. Thanks again for watching.